Welcome to Sports Time. This is a special on LSC. I'm Bob Hintz. Today I have Willie Brown with me. Now Willie Brown and I go all the way back to when I was coaching basketball and he was officiating. But we're going to go back when you were in high school.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, well, I know, but check your memory bank, see if you get, where'd you go to school?
I went to Carver High School in Newport News.
And one of your teammates was a young man that ended up pretty good.
Yeah, Leroy Keys ended up going to Purdue and was second in the Heisman to O.J. Simpson. Very good player, the best player Carver ever had.
I'll tell you, he's well known on the peninsula.
Absolutely.
When I came on the peninsula, you heard about Leroy Keys. Now, when you was Carver, you played sports?
I played football, basketball, and ran track.
So you did it all. You were a year-round guy.
That's the only three sports we had. That's all we played.
When I coached at Bucko Junior High School, we didn't have baseball because there was all we had was three sports. Then you went from there after you graduated. You went to the apprentice school.
Yeah, Newport News Shipbuilding Apprentice School. Did the same thing, played basketball, football, and ran track also. Oh,
yeah. But then you were also working. So you were there for quite a few years.
Yeah, I was in the shipyard for 38 years and retired.
38 years at one place.
It's a great program. I mean, you go to apprentice school, they pay you to go to school, teach you a trade, give you an education, and you can stay there and make a career of it.
And you did.
Yeah, and it's a great place to go.
Oh, what got you interested in officiating?
I was officiating house league at the apprentice school, and Jesse Kersey said, you need to do something else. And Jesse Kersey, NBA official.
Right.
And he's the one that got me interested in looking at becoming an official, a certified official. And during my learning years, he used to take me up to William and Murray and actually have me call the scrimmages. In the beginning, I was terrible, but you probably thought that when I had your games, I was terrible too. But the players used to
but I looked at it from a very narrow point of view.
Yeah, from that green and white.
Yeah. Well, you remember, okay.
Exactly. And then Jesse had me go to scrimmages. I got better and better. Jesse got me into the Southern Conference from there. I went to the Metro, then the ACC. But I worked high school ball for probably about 5 or 6 years before I moved to college ball.
Right. Well, I remember when you were in the high school doing that, and I remember Jesse, because Jesse was also did a lot in basketball when I was coaching. But this is not an easy thing to go from playing to be an official, because you're looking at the game a whole different way now, right?
Yes, you are, because you think you know everything. And then you have to learn the rules and understand. You have to interpret it. And then you have to apply it, and it's a whole different thing. I found out officiating is a lot different than what you think when you're playing basketball. But I was fortunate. When Jesse was working varsity games, he would make sure I was assigned to JV games. He would come to my JV games, watch me, and evaluate me, and help me to grow and mature.
Well, he was your mentor.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, that's great, because today you don't hear that.
No, you don't.
I mean, if you get into officiating, you don't find a gentleman who is in there and knows what he's doing, takes somebody underneath his wing and does what Jesse did.
Yeah, Jesse took a lot of time, made sure I became a good official. We really did. And I always appreciate it. When I see him, I tell him thank you.
Well, I'm sure you did, because that was great, because how are you going to learn otherwise if you don't have somebody that's been there?
Yeah.
And
because what you
out.
do, you just fumble along for 4 or 5 years. You don't get any better because nobody trains you or teaches you. So,
right.
And that's why now they have a lot of camps that the young people go to. They can learn the game of basketball, learn how to officiate, and then they can move along in officiating.
All right, now when you first started officiating, two-man crews.
Two-person crew. We call it two-person crew.
Two-person.
We say two-man, ladies don't like it. So we say two-person crew.
Two-person crew. And now they're doing everything is three-person, and they went to that. And once they go into the colleges, then it just kind of filters down into the high school.
Absolutely. You'll see most things that are done in the pros come to the college and they come to the high school. But it's a good thing, because there's a blind spot. When you were coaching, if you would trap them near the half-court line opposite your bench, official is not there. We're in the corner and on the side.
Right.
They had some dead spots, so they had to do that to take care of those problems.
Well, and also the athletes got better, didn't they?
Yes,
and
they
they're
did.
Quicker.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and we got older.
Well, that's a good point. But that is, the game became much faster paced.
Absolutely, yeah. And you had to do that. And there are a lot of things. If you were to look at college game when there was a two-person crew, there are off-the-ball fouls that you wouldn't see. You're concentrating in a couple areas,
right.
And off the ball they would set illegal screens and get free and go to basket and shoot. You would know somebody was guarding that guy. What happened to the guy? You look up, he's laying on the floor. So they had to do it for that particular reason,
right.
too.
Well, there's the safety thing involved in that,
absolutely.
too. Being official had to be in good shape.
Absolutely.
So what did you do to stay in shape through the? Did you run?
I did. During the off season, I ran. And funny, my wife used to ride the bicycle when I ran. She would always say, "Run faster, run faster." I said, "Why don't you run and let me ride?" But I used to stay in shape. We used to go. I live in Cherry Acres, which is off Andrews Boulevard. I used to go up Andrews Boulevard to Mercury, down to Fox Hill Road, down Woodland, then back to Andrews and back home. And that was our little route that we went just about every day during the summer, and she helped keep me in shape doing that.
Well, let me just mention your wife real quick.
Yeah.
Kathleen Brown.
Kathleen Brown.
Now, Kathleen was well known in the Hampton system.
Yes, she was. She was the superintendent for Hampton City Schools.
Right. So.
And she's a good wife. I picked the very best wife. I can say that. I hope she's listening so she can hear that and maybe bake me my cake that I like.
All right. Now let's go on to something a little bit different, but it still has to do with basketball, and that's Boo Williams.
Absolutely.
And now I've talked to a lot of people. There's Boo Williams' right-hand man, his left-hand man in the middle. You helped Boo immensely.
Boo and I have been connected at the hip for over 25 years. We started the Summer League probably in 1984, first games at Mitchellville High School. Boo and I officiated the basketball game. And I said, "Boo, if you want officials, let me know. You don't need to run." So I got officials to come out, and they started officiating the basketball game. And then we started probably in 1986. Boo said, "Let's run some tournaments." We'll bring in Riverside. Used to bring in a team from New Jersey. Bring in Sunny Hill, and they had a 4-game tournament at Holland Hall.
Sunny Hill's out of Pennsylvania.
Out of Pennsylvania. And that's what the Summer League is patterned after. When Boo was at St. Joe, he saw the Sunny Hill League, and he brought that same idea back to this area, and really did a lot of things. When the teams used to play from both sides of the water, there was animosity. And Boo figured if you got them to play, you could do a couple things. They would know each other, and you wouldn't have that animosity. Plus, you could get the best kids play, and you can play the best kids from other areas, which will give our athletes an opportunity to be seen by coaches and receive scholarships.
Right. Now, I know that when it first started, you just had one age group.
Yes.
And now it's developed into not only multi-age groups, but the ladies are playing
Absolutely. We go from 8 to 18, and we go up young ladies and young men. It's fascinating. The interesting thing is in every city, Newport News, Hampton, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Boo has the Tidewater area. In the young age groups, there's 3 or 4 teams in every city. When you start getting to 13, 14, the number reduces. 15, 16, you may have a couple in each city. You get to 16 and 17, they become the elite players. There's still some kids that play on the A, B, and C team, but they're elite players that Boo will put together. They will travel and play games throughout the country.
Okay. Now, but I know you get players from all over the Tidewater area. Occasionally you get them from other places?
We got from Roanoke, we got JJ. He came in and played. Brian Stiff came from up near, I guess, Lawrenceville, Virginia.
Right.
So, I mean, we got players that play everywhere. In the AAU, you can have players from an adjoining district. Virginia's a district. Part of D.C., Maryland is a district, Potomac Valley. Then there's Maryland that joins us. Kentucky joins us. Tennessee joins us. So in AAU, you can get players from all those adjoining districts.
All right. So how do you get the select team? How do they try out?
In the beginning, Boo would go around and look at all the high schools play and would invite players to come play with him. He would talk to the high school coaches about them and then get the coaches' agreement, and the kids would come and play. And as we moved along, we actually used to have a draft. Boo had a tryout in Hampton and a tryout in Norfolk, and he had coaches he had selected, and they actually drafted the players. But now as we do it, Boo still goes back and look at the high school, talk to the high school players, talk to coaches, talk to their parents, and get them involved with the program. So that's the way it evolved from being that way to changing to having a draft and back to that way now.
Okay. But now that's just getting the players. We're not talking about the logistics here.
Oh, please.
So, I mean, because you have to, I mean, you've got have to have a lot of people to help you.
Absolutely. Let me name 2 people, Peggy McKinnon and Jim McDonald. We will not run a tournament without them. They're good at what they do. Peggy handles scores and timers. JJ and Adrian Miley, they can't forget them. They get official. Jim McDonald does results. But we have a myriad of people that come and help us to get this tournament. We didn't have them, we couldn't get it done.
And that's something. And these people that help you, I mean, it's like this is their full-time job when they're doing it, isn't it?
It's all with Boo Williams is a volunteer job.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Peggy have been volunteering for probably 20 years. JJ and Adrian have been volunteering for 15 years. So it's amazing the number of volunteers we have involved to make this thing work. I mean, it's a labor of love. That's why you do it.
Well, now you're also involved in Special Olympics.
Absolutely. That's my heart.
I've
been involved in Special Olympics since 1984.
Wonderful.
I got involved in Area 22, which is Hampton, Newport News, Barnwell, Hudgens, Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind in Williamsburg was involved. And I became their training coordinator. And the interesting thing, when we would do basketball, I get Boo and the high school coaches to come in and actually do training for the athletes. Now, Special Olympics, the level is from a lower level to a higher level of skills. And we had young men at the clinic who were actually dunking the ball. Boo said, "That's Special Olympics?" Absolutely, Boo. The levels are different in Special Olympics.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's great. Now, you and Boo also do a little bit with the AAU.
National Boys Basketball
Right.
Committee. Boo's the chair of the National Boys Basketball Committee, and I'm the secretary. Over 2,000 young men to participate in the AAU Boys Basketball program throughout the country.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's a thing that's happened to you that just kind of blew my mind, and I'm sure it did yours too.
It did that.
And we're talking about your induction into the
Virginia Lower Peninsula Hall of Fame, yeah. And it's amazing because if somebody recognizes you for something that you love to do, it really makes a difference in your life. There's some great people going in, like Tomlin's going in.
Stop a minute on Mike Tomlin. You knew Mike from church?
I knew Mike when he was 8 years old. I went to high school with his parents.
Okay.
And I saw Mike grow up in the area playing Little League football, and he's turned into an outstanding young man. Aaron Brooks is another one I've seen grow up. I mean, he played in Boo Williams Summer League. He's an outstanding athlete. Vince Brown, who has great teams at Christopher Newport.
Right.
Bill Bodie, who's an outstanding sailor. Who's the other one I'm thinking about that's in there?
Bud told me all of them when I had Bud in here, but I couldn't talk about
Buddy
him.
Letts is the other one.
Right.
But
okay.
an outstanding athlete at UVA.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's and this is only inductions only happen every 3 years.
Every 3 years,
right.
Yeah. And it's great to be included in that class. When you think about the accomplishments of the people in that class, I'm proud to be in that class.
But you're humble, and I know you are. That I've known you for a long time, and it's always been a pleasure to be around you. Even though I didn't agree with all your calls on basketball, but that's part of it.
That's because I was right and you were wrong.
Always right. Well, thank you, Willie. Appreciate you taking time. Thanks for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my guest, Willie Brown. Bob Hintz is your host here. Until next time.